Today we're going to focus on love and relationships with the question, where is this relationship going? But before we begin, I want to say welcome to my viewers. If you're new to my channel, I provide free readings on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. If that interests you, go ahead and subscribe so you won't miss out. Any question you may have about me should be answered in the description, and if it's not answered there, go ahead and send me an email at momentsare.yt@gmail.com. Okay, what I want you to do is take a deep breath and focus on someone you're interested in. This week's topic is, where is this relationship going? By using the law of attraction, you'll find that the pile you're drawn to, pink, yellow, or purple, will provide the answers you seek. Take your time before picking to make sure that's the pile for you. And if you need to, you can pause the video now if you need more time. We're going to go ahead and start with the pink pile. Okay, so the first card we're going to be looking at is where the relationship is. Then we're going to look at what it needs to move forward, where it's headed, and any advice. Okay, so the card that we've gotten for the pink pile is the Silver Waterfall. This is an interesting card. It speaks to a little bit of tension and a little bit of, I don't want to say hypersensitivity because there's nothing wrong with being sensitive. The opposite is insensitive, so we definitely don't want that. I would say hyper-awareness of what's going on with your partner. And something that I've also noticed with this card is that it does tend to come up in newer relationships. It doesn't only come up in newer relationships, but generally it comes up in newer relationships. And that's because when you're first starting out, like in the first couple of years, you're getting to know your partner and you're noticing their habits, the way they think, the way they talk to you, and things like that. So when you see something that's a little inconsistent, or if they talk to you with a certain kind of tone of voice, or if there's just something that doesn't click with you, you'll notice that you'll have like a very strong either emotional or mental reaction to that. It can cause enough friction for you to bring it up and maybe question the relationship a little bit. What I do want to say about this is that a lot of what you're going through is really normal stuff, and these mistakes that are being made in this earlier stage of the relationship, or in this stage of the relationship right now, because not all of you are in early relationships, these are going to be smoothed out very easily. And the way that they get smoothed out is by recognizing the mistakes that you've made in your past relationships, both romantic and non, and also any kind of mistakes that you felt like you've made in this relationship. Basically acknowledging that you're human and so is your partner. And by acknowledging that human element, you can become a lot more empathetic to what they're going through. And interestingly enough, what this relationship needs to move forward is empathy. So this is something that's going to be naturally happening with you, okay? So this isn't something that necessarily is anything that is going to be new that you're going to be bringing to the relationship. But this is something that definitely focus on, because it'll get you to where it's headed a lot faster. And the empathy card reminds us to feel and understand the emotions of another in the service of a love, okay? So just take whatever tension you have about your partner and hold it in your heart and really project love around that. And know that you guys aren't perfect, your partner's not perfect, you're not perfect, but love is perfect. And as long as you keep a loving attitude towards your partner, you'll find that you'll be able to get through just about anything. And again, I do see you guys getting through this situation. So whatever tension's going on right now, I don't want to minimize it at all, but it will be taken care of. And I know this because where it's headed is engagement. Your love life is ascending to a higher level of commitment. So what that means is, for some of you, it is a literal engagement. But for most of you, what it is just whatever feels like maybe it's not moving at the pace that you want it to move, or maybe it's not moving in what feels like a natural way. Your relationship is about to reach a new level, and once it reaches that level, you'll be able to feel so much more secure in your relationship, and you're going to know basically where your partner stands. It seems like there's a little bit of nervousness about where does this person see our relationship, and where do they stand right now. Well, where they stand right now is that they do see a future, and they want to bring that relationship, up to the next level. So you will very soon be getting a lot of indications from your partner that they want to get more serious. And you'll find that if you do say yes to that, if you do decide to become more serious, then your relationship will naturally progress in a way where you'll continue to progress, and this will be a really lasting relationship. And advice for you, just as a way to wrap up this reading, is individuality. You leave your unique stamp of love on everything you do. This card is just reminding you that you don't have to be what you think your partner wants in order for your partner to care about you and love you and want to commit to you. Okay, you can be yourself. This card comes up a lot also with newer couples, because there's always this kind of fear that some aspect of yourself is not going to be to their liking, or maybe there's some aspect of yourself that you want to get rid of because you don't think that it should belong in a relationship. Just know that your own individuality, your own authentic self, that's what's going to keep this relationship on track. So, always decide to do the thing that most resonates with you, and you are going to be fine. So this relationship looks like it is definitely going the distance. Next, we're going to be focusing on the yellow pile, and we're going to be looking at where the relationship is, what it needs to move forward, where this relationship is heading, and any advice. Okay, so where the relationship is right now is self-respect. And I've noticed that this card comes up a lot when there is something about yourself, okay, that you might not be respecting as much. There's something about yourself that you're kind of maybe putting yourself down, or maybe you're compromising your morals in this situation. This can also come from a situation where your partner might not respect you as much, or maybe they are not showing you that they care about you in the way that you need them to. Okay, so with the self-respect card, what that means is just remember to love yourself, remember to give yourself that nurture, and also make sure that you're setting some boundaries for your relationship as well. Sometimes this card can also carry a lot of guilt with it. Like maybe there's something about the relationship that's not quite ideal. And this would be something that was brought into the relationship before the relationship started. And just remember that you don't have anything to feel guilty about when it comes to love. But some boundaries, when they're crossed, they definitely need to be addressed. So just keep in mind that if there's any feelings of dissonance between you and your thoughts, basically between your heart and your head, if there's any kind of dissonance that you're really having some issues with, you can solve that by respecting yourself a little bit more and laying out some more boundaries. They're not going to leave because of that. What this relationship needs to move forward in a positive way is spontaneity. You move beyond the constraints of the mind and freely and lovingly embrace new situations. And that actually gives me a little bit more insight onto the self-respect card that came up, because when you are being constrained by your mind, that usually shows some negative self-talk. That can also show overthinking things. And what you'll find is when you overthink things, or when you're kind of talking down to yourself in your head, of course the self-respect's going to be suffering for that. And so just know that First off, it's okay to worry. It's okay to overanalyze and all of that kind of stuff. But if you find yourself being stuck in that situation, do something spontaneous. If you feel like doing something maybe kind of silly or kind of weird or whatever, that actually would be welcome in this relationship. So don't forget that that aspect of yourself is fine. You don't have to plan everything perfectly. And you'll find the more spontaneity that you bring to the relationship, the more that you'll respect yourself. So the next card is Healing Family Issues. And this card has a dual meaning, I found. The message is your love life benefits as you forgive your parents. Now, this can mean two things that I've seen. And I'm only mentioning this because the self-respect card did come up. Sometimes this card can mean, all right, maybe one of you is already in a relationship. Maybe one of you already has a family. And because of either the family, maybe one of you has kids, or because of this other relationship that's going on, the relationship can't really be about respect because there's not enough trust there. Or you might be worried that because there might be children involved, that maybe you're not as important, or maybe they think that you're not as important because maybe you have children. Just know that this relationship is here to heal family issues, okay? So if you have children or if your partner has children, that's going to be fine. That's not going to be a big issue with the two of you. Also, any kind of issues that you have from your past that have to do with relationships with your parents, maybe some negative patterns that you experienced in your family, just know that sometimes when you're going through this negative self-talk and you're overanalyzing, you're basically in an arena by being in this relationship where you can heal that. But unfortunately, it's not very pleasant when you're going through that, okay? Basically, you're going to be purging some of this negativity by being in this relationship. And then the other message that I do need to address is that, again, if there is some guilt, if you feel like you can't be spontaneous with this relationship and this person is already in a relationship, or if you're in a relationship already, that can be a big block and a big issue. Basically, you'll need to make a decision on what you're going to have to do in order to get to that next point. And the advice for the relationship is actually virtue. You acknowledge your loving spiritual attributes that encourage others to grow. Okay, so in this case, for those of you that aren't in a relationship with somebody who might be already taken or aren't in a relationship yourself and then also trying to pursue this other relationship, virtue is going to speak to the virtue of self-respect. And the virtue, becoming a more virtuous person by doing some work on yourself. Basically mellowing your mind. I really recommend any kind of meditation, automatic writing, free writing, journaling, or if that doesn't work for you and if you need to be more active, go ahead and maybe take walks or just go outside and be in nature for a little while. And kind of remove that focus from yourself to the outside world. And you'll find that you'll be able to break free of any kind of mental restraints that you're feeling. I mean, you're always going to be the kind of person that will overanalyze. That's just kind of a part of who you are. But by practicing mindfulness of other things, you'll be able to balance that a lot better. For those of you who are in a relationship, or your partner's in a relationship and there's some stuff going on there, this card's really telling you to really focus on the morals there, and that includes societal morals as well as your own, and figure out like what boundaries do you need to set in order for this to be okay. Do you need to make a decision to leave the situation so that you're with the person that you're already with, or so that your partner can stay together with who they're already with? Or is this a situation where you need to get rid of that past relationship? Maybe that relationship no longer serves you or it no longer serves your partner. in that case, just know that it's time to be able to kind of stand up and be like, okay, where's this going? We need to get this on the right path. And the way that you can do that is go ahead and say to your partner, and I'm telling you, this phrase really helps, and the key word is comfortable. Just say, I'm not completely comfortable with where this is right now, and I'd like to talk to you about it. That's it. That's all you have to say. And then your partner will be able to fill that in. If they kind of get stunned into silence, just go ahead and ask them, are you comfortable? And that's only speaking to the people that are watching this who are in a situation like that. Again, this could be just you guys are just kind of purging your own issues that have to do with, patterns in relationships that goes back all the way to when you were a child and that kind of thing. And you'll find out that you'll become more virtuous, more calm, basically more wise as you work through these problems. And again, that self-respect, really think about what you need in order for you to be happy. So this reading doesn't necessarily say that the two of you are going to stay together, but it does show that there is definitely potential for that if you kind of keep in mind the virtue and making sure you work really strongly on yourself and set some boundaries, be a little bit more spontaneous and all of that kind of stuff. Or this reading might be telling you that maybe you need to get out of it for a little while until it can get to that point where it can serve you. Basically, the question you guys need to be asking yourselves is, what should I do in order to get to that point where I'm at a good place? So I'm going to go ahead and pull a clarifier card because I think it's important for this that it's as clear as possible. And I'm going to go ahead and pull a clarifier card for those who are in that kind of sticky situation. So for those that maybe have a previous relationship or maybe their partner is already in a relationship, I'm going to go ahead and pull what's the ultimate outcome. Okay, well, the ultimate outcome is chemistry. So there's definitely a strong magnetic attraction between the two of you. Definitely the relationship definitely has something to stand on. So you definitely have a foundation. And I do think that this relationship will be able to move forward as long as you just really set some boundaries and figure out, what's the time frame on what you need to do and that kind of thing. But also keep in mind that chemistry that you have, that magnetism, any kind of physical intimacy, that might need to be dialed back just for a little bit so that both of you can think, basically. Because, it's such a strong bond here. And for those of you that aren't in a situation like that, I'm going to go ahead and pull a clarifying card because I definitely don't want to be unclear since I'm kind of dealing with two different situations here. And with you guys, well, you've got children. So the children card comes up when either you already have children, when your partner has children, when you're going to have children with each other, or when your relationship needs to kind of lighten up. And I think for most of you, it's really that lightening up because, again, when you are able to move beyond all of that just spider web of thought, when you get stuck in that overthinking, you're not able to bring that spontaneity and that playfulness to your relationship, and that's really what it needs in order to get to that point where you're moving forward, you're healing some family issues, and you're getting to that place where you're feeling wise and strong and wonderful. So all right. Now we're going to be looking at the pile for the purple. And the first card is where the relationship is, what it needs to move forward, where it's headed, and any advice. All right, guys. Looks like you purples are the ones that get the best reading because this is great. What you're finding right now is that in your relationship, both you and your partner are kind of challenging the beliefs that you have about like patterns in your life that aren't serving you anymore. And you're finding that maybe your family didn't provide enough of something for you. In order for you to really feel like you could grow. And I do want to speak to that. In a lot of families, just because there's just so many different personalities, there can be situations where you've been in a positive situation with your parents, but you still felt like a lack of something growing up, and that's very, very common. That's normal. So it doesn't say anything about parenting, or it could be a situation where there was some nasty stuff in your childhood. So I do want to mention that. So right now, you're basically, I mean, this is great. You're surrounded by this love. You're loving yourself. You're giving to yourself as well as to this relationship. And this reparenting yourself really speaks to becoming a lot more mature, that growth mindset of, I don't want to settle for just being the way I am right now. I want to be better than myself. So that's really great. What this relationship needs to move forward is discernment. You're developing the skill to distinguish love from fear and truth from illusion. So what's happening right now is that you're finding that those old patterns that you had in other relationships aren't really showing up so much in this relationship. This is very, very new, very different. It feels so much more than what other relationships you've been in have felt. This person is really igniting a strong flame inside of you, but it's a sustainable flame. And you're finding that you're making so much wiser decisions in this relationship. So this just kind of shows that both you and your partner are learning from each other so much. And this is just about the best card you can get. Yes, this is your soulmate. Different people have different philosophies about what a soulmate means, and I'd rather not comment on that just because I know how varied it is. But what I can comment is this card shows that you are connected in such a strong way that there's basically no way that this relationship isn't going to work for the two of you. I mean, even if one of you were to walk away, you'd still find yourself coming back to each other. So I really think that you're not going to have any problems there. I don't see either one of you leaving the situation or having some pain that has to do with that. I'm just getting that you guys are great together. You're well matched. You're in love. You are being wise with one another, and you're bringing it, and your partner's going to be bringing it too. So you're in a really, really special relationship that is going to last. And any advice for your relationship is just responsibility. You're aware of the power of your thoughts and the amount of love you express. And this responsibility really does speak back to this reparenting yourself and becoming more mature and gaining more discernment and that kind of stuff. So, you're learning to be a responsible person, and that's going to definitely keep you on your toes with this relationship. You'll find that this relationship actually doesn't need as much work as some people kind of mention that relationships need. That's okay. It's because you guys are really connected strongly here. But you will find yourself, and again, this does come from that growth mindset, you will find yourself becoming a more responsible person. And I do want to say, for most of you, there either are going to be children around you, or there will be children coming, like within the past, or within the next 2 or 3 years. So I'm also seeing that for you guys. So either you already have children, or you're going to have children. That's what I'm getting for you guys. So basically, it's a really, really outstanding situation to be in. So you guys, really, it's almost like I don't want to say anything because you're already doing it so well. That there's really nothing more to say about it. But what I can say is that it's just a really positive situation, and it is going to work for you guys. So just keep that in mind.